What's up? I read The Misconnection and I'm back with the book review, so let's talk about it, girl. So, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, it was a goal of mine to get back into reading this year. And my latest read is The Misconnection by Tia Williams. I picked this book up before I was taking a trip. I wanted something to read on the plane, and I thought, how cute would this be? Because it's about a misconnection that happens on a flight. Now, I'm going to avoid any real spoilers. Anything I say is going to be something you can find out by just reading even this little blurb in the book or reading the back. Nothing crazy. So if you didn't read the book, you can still watch this video. So this is my first Tia Williams book. She's written several books. She's a New York Times bestseller. She wrote The Accidental Diva, It Chicks, and The Perfect Find, which is that movie on Netflix with Gabrielle Union. And she also wrote 7 Days in June. So I didn't read any of those books, but I have watched The Perfect Find on Netflix. Very cute movie. And when I was reading this, I could totally see those stories being by the same person. Like, my thoughts on this is this would be a cute like Netflix movie. So let's start with my rating and I'll get into why. I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, it's a good story. It took me a few chapters to really get into it, but once you get into it, it does become a page turner. Now, the reason it took me a few chapters might just be my personal preferences. I'll explain, and you may not have this problem. So, like I said, it's a misconnection that happens on a plane. If you don't know, a misconnection is basically when you meet someone but don't exchange information. Back in the day, it was a whole thing on Craigslist. It was a whole misconnection section on Craigslist where people would post, in their cities. If you were the person in the red shirt in the park, I was the one in the blue shirt in the park, stuff like that. And you'll try to like reconnect with the misconnection. So it's basically you see someone, you meet someone, you may even have an exchange, but you don't lock in those details before you go. And that's what happens with our main character here, Sasha, on a flight to Paris for work. So I read the first few chapters on my flight to Vegas, and the reason I wasn't completely locked in the first few chapters, just a couple things that are just my personal preference. One thing that happens very early in the book is a palm reading, and I'm not into that. I don't play with the palms, with the cards, with all that stuff. I've unfollowed influencers or creators that I really like because they'll post something about they had a reading, and I'm like, no, as for me in my house, no, that doesn't fly. I only receive anything about the future from the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, that gave me like a little gave me a little ick. But I kept going, and then we get into the misconnection again. You know about the misconnection by reading this. I'm not giving you any real spoilers. I'll just say it happens on a plane, and the person it happens with also kind of not turned me off, but I just wasn't interested. Now, I too was Team Nicolandria, but for the most part, I like the interest to be a brother. I do. I'm not really into reading about another. No shade, no tea. Again, I was Team Nicolandria, loved them, but it just wasn't giving. That wasn't giving for me. It just didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for me. What can I say? I like reading about Black love, but I kept reading, and then another character is introduced. Piqued my interest. Another character was introduced. And now I have to know what happens with these characters and who is going to be so I kept reading. And then it becomes interesting, and you learn more about this other character. And they go through a lot, and they have a history. And then you learn more about her story and her history, and things she's overcome, depression, and a period of time in her life where she isolated herself because of something she went through and her coming out of that. And that's where you get to some really good pieces of the story. You get to the meat and potatoes, and it becomes really good, and that's why I gave it a solid 7. So it does deal with some personal struggle, goes deep but not too deep. I would still consider this a light read. Like, if you want a light, fun read with interesting characters, I wouldn't go as far as say a love triangle. It was never really a triangle, but a situation where you're kind of flipping through the pages on the edge of your seat, waiting to see how it works out. Gets a little messy. Sasha, she's a dynamic character. Smart, successful, overcoming personal struggles. Watching her just climb herself out of this hole and find healing. It's a good story. It's a good story. 7 out of 10. Let me know if you check this out. Let me know if you read it. Let me know your thoughts. If you are looking for a light read for your next trip, your next vacation, on the flight, to read on a beach, I definitely will recommend this. I didn't read anything about this one becoming a movie, but I could absolutely see it as a Netflix movie. The same thing I felt about The Perfect Find. Like The Perfect Find on Netflix, I thought it was a cute movie, but definitely a Netflix movie. Like I wouldn't have saw that in theaters, if that makes sense. And that's how I feel about this. This would be a cute Prime Video Netflix movie. We would definitely sit at home and tune into this with your girls or a little date night in. This could definitely be the vibe for that. So let me know if you've read this and let me know what I should read next. Remember, I fell off when it comes to reading. Last year I read no books. So this year I want to read at least 10, and this is my fifth. So I'm halfway there, but let me know your book recommendations in the comments. What should I read next? And I'll see you in the next video.